This gentleman ran 5 NASCAR Busch Series races over 2 seasons for Terry Labonte and Labonte Motorsports, and Bill Baumgardner in Base Motorsports. He's the 1995 American-Canadian Tour champion and a 2-time Busch North Series champion in back-to-back years, 1999 and 2000. Brad Leighton joins us on the phone. Brad, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Great to finally have you on. We've had many of your cohorts, Andy Santerre, Dave Dion, those type of guys on. It's great to finally have you on, and let's jump right into things. How did you, Brad Leighton, catch the racing bug?
I think I've been asked that quite a few times, Miles. Then I think every time it's maybe a different answer. But I think it was just, I was born with it. Always been very competitive from a young man standpoint, whether it was in school, playing school ball, or racing the lawnmowers around the lawn, or hell, I even remember racing bicycles around the gas pumps where I had my first job. It was kind of cool, but I really wasn't really inspired by any one person to get started, and just worked out that way.
So up in you're from New Hampshire. Ice racing was is pretty popular up north. Well, you might have escaped the winters up here right now. Talk to us a little bit about some of your times ice racing. I believe you have some stories there.
Yeah, no question. That was a lot of fun. It was back when you would literally, take a car and take the windows out of it, no roll cage at all, maybe a little extra support around the grill. If you drove into somebody, it wouldn't ruin the radiator and such, and buy some chains at the local Napa store and go have a good time, put a number on the car. I remember my very first car was must have been like a 68 Duster, had a 3-speed on the floor, and we drove it to the track. It actually was in Meredith Bay in New Hampshire, and took all the glass out of it right on the lake there, and put all the glass in the back of a pickup, and we didn't even have a number on it, and we drove it over there with a dealer plate. I was working at a garage. I'm not sure what age it was, but obviously I had my license, but we didn't have a number on it, and the official came over and said, "Hey, you need a number." So we just went across the street and grabbed a can of spray paint and literally sprayed it was 531X, which was the number plate that we used to drive it over there. So, but that was pretty much it there. Talked about a bug. That was, that got to me, and I was lucky enough to have a very supportive family. My father and brother basically worked and built on all the cars. I was kind of a crude mechanic, if you will. So they did all the heavy lifting for me. But that was a lot of fun, and really learned a lot about controlling the car and looking ahead and anticipating what may happen. So it was a great lesson.
Speaking of lessons, what lessons did Bridgeway Speedway or Beech Ridge Speedway teach you to set you up for the rest of your racing career?
Yeah, no question. Good call. So listen, we were just racing around, believe it or not, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. On Wednesday nights was Briar Motor Sports Park, and we raced around the pond there. And we were doing pretty well, but we took an opportunity to go to Maine, and it was Beech Ridge was like Daytona to us. I mean, we at that point in time, Briar's half the straightaway was still dirt, and the corners were asphalt. It was a pretty crude place, but had a lot of fun there. But moving our way up to Beech Ridge, which is at that point in time was dirt. They called it dirt, but they oiled and watered the track down often, so it was pretty much like an asphalt track. So I remember going up there and reading through the rule book, and then it was pretty much spelled out that you needed a fire suit. So not knowing anything about that, I literally went to the fire department to get a fire suit, and the guy there says, "Hey, listen, this is not the fire suit you need." So ended up buying one at Beech Ridge, and I think I won my second race up there. But there was like almost 100 cars in the class, so Yeah, Beach Ridge really taught us a lot. We were the only New Hampshire driver. Actually, Bobby Gahan and myself were only New Hampshire driver. So there wasn't a big welcoming party, that's for sure. But certainly the place treated me very well, and we had a lot of success there.
You mentioned Old Briar Motorsports Park, of course, which is now New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and kind of gave us a little details. But tell us about a couple of the stories racing it up there back in the day.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, it was early on racing, and my father and brother built a car, and we didn't really know much about, weight ratio and all that stuff, and our car was very heavy, so we'd do pretty well until the end of the race, and the tires would all heat up and would end up falling back in the pack. So we kind of figured that game out pretty quickly relative to the weight. But yeah, it was fun. It was on Wednesday nights. It was $80 to win, and so they paid you in cash in one window, and the second window was a beer window. So we ended up getting all our money back for the most part, anyway, even if you did win. So, but met a lot of great people and really hardcore racers, and still friends with them today. So that was quite a place.
You had some success when the track turned over from Briar Motorsports Park to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let's talk a little bit about that success from the Busch North Series and even a little bit of the Act Tour Series up at Leighton.
Yeah, no question. So that place, again, really treated us well and treated me well. I remember back, I was still in running ACT with Curly. It was probably 93, or maybe even 92, 93, and Chevrolet was doing a ABS demonstration. So Kelly Moore and myself went down, and I remember I just was looking down the front stretch, because you're coming, we're short track guys up here, so looking down that long speedway front stretch at Leighton, I'm like, holy sheeps, who the hell would, do that? So, like I said, that was either, I think, 93 or 94, maybe 92, 93, but in 95, I got my first opportunity to run down there, and then in 96, we won our first, my rookie year, won a race down there, and I think we won 7 after that. But, yeah, I don't know. It just fit my driving style, I guess, and certainly had all the right equipment and certainly the right crew under me. There's no question for that.
It seems like road course racing was right up your alley throughout your time in Busch North. I mean, 50% of the time you're finishing in the top 5. What about road course racing at Lime Rock and Watkins Glen really suited Brad Leighton's driving style?
I know. I certainly... if I could go back now and just road course race, I don't know, I'm too old now, but my heart's still in road course racing. I truly love it. And had never done it before, and frankly, I thought I would be pretty good at it. I had a lot of experience as a younger kid out running the police in our town, so I got pretty good at that. So I got onto a road course. We converted. That was back when you'd convert your roundy round car, your oval car, to a road course. And of course now, even back when we were running, you'd built a road course car specifically for that use. But yeah, so I went down there in 1995, and I remember I can't remember who was it. It was Mike Gricci, who was obviously the car owner and crew chief for Mike McLaughlin and Mike Stefanik, and really good team. And he called me the Minuteman because it took me over a minute to get around the track, and everybody else was in the 50-second bracket. So, long story short, Steve Griswold, best friend, car owner. I was with him for 18 years, and he taught me a lot on and off the track. But he's big in education, so he sent me off to the Bondurant School in Arizona, and I actually flew out there the first time, I recall, and I was really, really, really sick for some reason and couldn't go through the class. So I came back, and I was only able to get into the vintage class, but it was more of a vintage drivers, not vintage cars. So I had I had the same instructor that Mark Martin, Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, all those guys had. Cooper was his last name. And he says, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, to have fun and learn how to road course." He goes, "Well, you got one of them right." So what an instructor. So long story short, I came back after that and sat on the outside pole at Watkins Glen. So he was, thank God for Steve allowing me financially to get out there and do that. And, Cooper was a great instructor. So, yeah, I just love road course racing. I mean, we won a few. I definitely should have won more, made so many mistakes, Leighton. But definitely a lot of fun, that road course stuff.
So you brought up 1995, and that was obviously the year that you won the Actor Championship. Tell us a little bit about your time in Actor in 95 and winning the championship, some of the battles that came along with that season.
Oh, yeah, no question. So, listen, I was probably the luckiest guy in New England because through my career, the series, the ACT series was at its pinnacle. 93, 94, running. We have some TV coverage in Canada, and the purses were really well. And then we transitioned over the Busch, and obviously 96, 97, 98 with the Busch North Series was at its pinnacle as well. So relative to ACT, there's no question I had the best team. It was really formed through Robbie Crouch's team, and Robbie transitioned over to the Busch and then since retired. But I had an amazing team and a lot of good battles with the Ralph Nasons of the world, and just learned a lot from those guys too. But that was a really, really fun series. The chassis is very similar to the past series now. A lot of fun, low, wide, and a really fast car. So certainly enjoyed that. That was a great series.
Talk to us a little bit for the listeners who might not know some of the differences or similarities between what the Actor is and the Busch North Series at the time was. Tell the listeners a little bit about some of the similarities, differences of the two series.
Well, the differences are pretty easy to describe. It's like coming home and going to work every day with your your pickup or your vehicle, your regular car, then getting into a U-Haul truck and doing the same thing and try to expect to get there at the same time. It's just the chassis the Busch cars were narrow, 60 inches. We were 64 and a half. They were high. We had like a 3-inch frame height rule. They had a 5-inch. And heavy. Ooh-wee. We were 2750. These things weighed another 500 or 600 pounds. So not 500 or 600, 400 pounds. So it was quite the transition for me. It was one of those things that I truly had to learn that slow is fast. There was no, you couldn't be very aggressive on the wheel. So once I kind of figured that out, I think I had gotten better and better, and my team certainly helped me get through that. But yeah, the similarities were pretty much as far as the day-to-day stuff. When we went to track, Curly ran such a professional tour, just like the Busch North NASCAR ran. But the fan base was huge in ACT. I mean, we had a lot of Canadian fans, so they were pretty nuts. It was a lot of fun after the race.
Yeah, those Canadians can still party it up pretty hard up in Loudon during the summer, that's for sure. So, 1999 and 2000, back-to-back championships in the Busch North Series, lots of success those seasons. Let's start with 99. Talk to us about that 1999 season and winning the Busch North Championship for the first time.
Yeah, that was an amazing feeling. But I'll tell you what really set us up for the 99-2000 was 1998. But for getting into, call it what you want, a pissing contest with Dave Dion, we could have won easily. I would say even more so than 99. We could have won 98. We were, in my opinion, was equally as fast or faster than 99. And I think we probably would have completed more laps and more top tens. But Dave and I were on this, road for destruction, and I didn't give up, which I should have, but it cost the team the 98 championship. But 99, I think we finished in top 10 almost every single race. We finished almost every lap. We're very, very consistent. You know, it's funny, and I think it probably happens in any professional sport, guys. It's when it comes easy, it's easy. You know, and I think I described 1999 that way. And in 2000, you ended up gaining so much respect through the field with your other competitors that they gave you a little room, per se. But we started losing our performance, there's no question. And then 2000, I think we finished third. But those 2 years are really special, no question, and certainly well deserved from all the guys up in Vermont, and certainly Steve and Peg Griswold, the car owners. We, it was really special, and we did it with pretty much the same core of people, and they were all volunteer. But Brian and Carl, I guess, were full time the second year, 2000, that is. But yeah, it was great. It was something to remember. There's a lot of good memories there.
You mentioned Dave Dion, and you raced against talents like Andy Santerre and the Dragons as well. How does racing against guys like that really help shape you to become a back-to-back champion and make you the driver you are?
Well, you know, I mean, for me, I think I learned more from them saying nothing and just watching them, how they carry themselves and how they treated the crews, and sometimes good, sometimes bad, mostly good, and and how to go about winning a championship. It's not really about that one particular race. It certainly does come down to that, but I don't know. I just learned a lot from those guys, and they were, and I had at that point, and by '99, certainly, I think I had gained enough respect through the field, racing with those guys you mentioned, that, like I said, they'd give you a little, But I was probably known to be probably a little more aggressive than I need to be, and sometimes that'd get me in trouble. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of times I used to joke with the competitors, I don't have a dime in it, I don't work on it, but I certainly appreciate everything I had, with no question.
So Ben brought up those names, and obviously this past summer at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we were in stitches watching that show as you,
yeah.
Dave Dion, Andy Santerre, the Dragons all reminisced about those days, and just what an incredible job New Hampshire Motor Speedway did putting that on. Any stories, any battles? You and Andy seem to be thick as thieves together even these days now in retirement. Any stories you want to share with the listener that'll give them a good chuckle, whether it be Dave Dion, Andy, any of them while we got the time?
Well, it's I guess my personal battle, the biggest battle I ever had, was obviously with Dion. And it's funny, it started the very first race at Lee. I think we had won 4 races in a row at Lee, and and Lee's a tough place to park, so pass that is. So I was being fairly aggressive the first 10 laps, where a lot of people chose to wait to the end, but my car seemed to want to go when they had cold tires. But anyway, so I got into Dave a little bit, and I ended up passing, and he didn't care for that at all. He made it clear. But so we go through 1998, and he gets into me and spins me out, takes me out big time at Holland Speedway, and I take him out at Stafford. We're back and forth. It's just a total ridiculous thing as we look at it today. But so we're at Loudon. Unbeknownst to me, Steve Griswold goes over and talks to Dave Dion and says, "Hey, Dion, we've got to stop this crazy shit. I'm out of cars. Someone's going to get hurt. Will costing ourselves a lot of money." He goes, let's make an agreement. Whomever finishes in front of the next guy, they'll come over and shake their hand, and we're done. And Dave agreed to it. I don't know, whatever. I might have finished 4th or 5th of that day, and I have my helmet off. I'm waiting to get through the teardown line, and here comes Dion. I'm thinking to myself, I wasn't even near that guy. What the hell is he coming over here? He walks over, reaches his hands in the window and shakes my hand and says, "Good race." And I'm thinking, what the is going on? So I threw my helmet back on, stuck my earplugs in. You're not going to believe this. I says, Dave Dion just came over and congratulated me on a good race. I said, was it because I didn't win? I'm like 4th or 5th. I don't know what it is. So long story short, Steve Griswold had made that agreement. He came over. He goes, Brad, he just called me Braddy. He goes, Braddy, I was praying you were going to beat him because I didn't know how I was going to convince you to go over and shake his hand. If you finished behind him, he goes, but I was banking on it because Loudon always treated us pretty well. So, I mean, that was one of many stories, but that was the one that stands out. There's no question, yeah.
So, kind of enjoying retirement these days. What's on the docket most days? Anything racing related or kind of laying low?
Yeah, kind of laying low. I do some stuff, like you guys, the podcast stuff. And Andy and I went to, and Joe Bessie was in Augusta, Maine, at the Augusta Car Show up there. Just kind of giving back if time permits for me. I mean, I met a lot of good people racing, and certainly had a lot of good times. So I feel pretty. It deserves me to put some extra time in it off the track to give back. So, but yeah, just kind of laying low. We're down in Florida now. I'm actually only like 15 minutes from New Smyrna Speedway. I was running for one of the past guys, and I ended up winning a race down here. That was a pretty fast track, pretty neat. Dave Moody. I think I was driving with Dave Moody at the time. Not Dave Moody. What's his name? From Maine. He's a builder. I'm drawing a blank now. But anyway, the car was fast. I ended up winning the race. So yeah, just kind of hanging out.
Excellent. So we've been joined here in the first segment of the show tonight by two-time Busch North Series champion Brad Leighton. Brad, a pleasure to have you on.